Huffle and bottle to Hashem. And the chiddush is that in a physical place, in a place like Mamalaklon, in a place like there is the level of Mitzias and Ischalkos, despite that level that there is Mitzias and Ischalkos, still in all, we have that this Mokim, this place, should be something that is bottled to the Eibishter. And we see this in the Beis HaMikdash especially, because in the Beis HaMikdash we find that Mokim Ha'aron Einem in Amidah, that the place of the Aron, meaning the Gvul of the physical place, was bottled to the spiritual Bligvul. So therefore, since the Gvul of the physical place was bottled to the spiritual Bligvul, therefore the Ein Sof could come down over there. And the reason why more so than in Shemayim Mishmei Shemayim, which is also something we asked, once we explained how it's possible for the Ein Sof to be down here in the physical Beis HaMikdash, and through that it comes through the entire world. But why is the bittul in the Beis HaMikdash greater than the bittul in the Oilmas Al Yonim, than the Atzmas coming down in Shemayim, Shmei Shemayim, Atzilus, and higher than Atzilus, and so on? So we explained three reasons. One reason is because down here in this world it's a chidush, like a tzipra medaberes, like a talking parrot, so it causes Hashem greater delight. Another reason is that it has to do with the bittul is a greater bittul because it has a complete bittul of itself, because it has no other metzias other than the fact that it's bottled to the Eibishter, just like an ordinary person's bittul before a great chacham versus a small chacham is bottled in comparison to a greater chacham. And the final maila of what goes on here in this world is the closeness that the Yesh HaNivra has with the Yesh HaAmiti, because the only way there could be a Yesh HaNivra comes from Hashem's true Metzias, and as we know, the closer something is, like we established at the beginning of the Maimer, the closer one is to Hashem's essence, the more bottled it is. That's what Yaakov Avinu says, Katointi mikol chasadim, that all the chesed that the Eibishter showed us causes a greater bittul. So the same thing, specifically down here in this world, where the Yesh HaNivra is one with the Yesh HaAmiti, because of that oneness, so that brings about, and that is a closeness that is not to be found in the Oilmas Al Yonim, that only here in this world Atzmas creates the Metzias of the Yesh of the world. Therefore, the bittul is of a much powerful type. So now we're holding on the top of page Tazayin, the beginning of the line, Ois Zayin. So now the Rebbe is going to go on and explain everything needs to be reflected in our avodah. It's not just enough that you have the bittul of the place of the Beis HaMikdash, because Makom Ha'aron Einem in Abidah, and therefore Hashem is here. Everything needs to have, the Rebbe always brings Amar Chassidus, where this reflects in avodah. So the Rebbe goes on to say, the revelation of this level, that my place is ancillary and sublimated to me down here below. So even though it expressed itself in the Aron, but there needs to be an accompanying avodah. Why they have avodah shoysa Beis HaMikdash is through the avodah that took place in the Beis HaMikdash. Shikara avodah sakarbanis, that the primary avodah in the Beis HaMikdash is the avodah of karbanis k'mevur b'amari ilula, like it's explained in the Amorim of the Frierdiker Rebbe in the Hemshech of Basar Lagani, where he says that even though there could be many different things going on in the Beis HaMikdash, but the primary aspect of the Beis HaMikdash is the avodah sakarbanis. Like the Rambam writes at the beginning, right away at the beginning of Hilchos Beis HaBchira, that the that the mitzvah is to build a house where there will be makriv by karbonis. So that is the primary avodah of the Beis Hamikdash, and that is what caused and brought out begoli this level of the place that is bottled to me. The inyan karbonis, so the idea of a carbon is sha'adam makriv al mizbeach behema sheshar shemoil matay, that the person offers up upon the mizbeach an animal that its root is from the world of tayu. When it's beyond the root of a person, that the person's source and root comes from the world of tikkun. That is the reason why, in general, a person needs to come on to animals. How is it possible that if the human being is the highest creation in the levels of Daimim Tzemech Chaim Medaber, Adam is the highest level, how could it be that the highest level should need to have something beneath it? In other words, for food or for other purposes. If the person is the highest, everything should need him and not the other way around. But the reason why a person needs to have his energy and his vitality come from animals, because the shayrish of the animals is in the world of Tayu. So the person takes the animal that its root is from the world of Tayu, and he is makrivit through that the animal goes up to its root and its source. In the lower source, there is the higher source of Tayu. The lower source is in the four wild beasts of the divine chariot. Kidu, as it's known, that the lion's face that's in the divine chariot, is the source of all the wild beasts. And the oxen face is the source of all domesticated animals. And the eagle's face in the Merkava Elyoina is the source of all fowl, flying birds, etc. Through the behema down here, going up to its source in the Arba Chayes of Merkava. So now these Chayes of the Merkava Elyoina, these Malachim, Chayes Noisos Esakisei, these Malachim called Chayes raise up the divine throne that sits upon this chariot. And the supernal image of Adam that's upon the level of the Kisei, to a level that is not Adam, that is beyond Adam. Because, so what comes out is like this. There is the Adam Shalakisei, usually associated with the spheres of Atzilus. There's the Merkava, the Chayis, which usually has to do with the worlds of Bria. And then there's the level of Loy Adam, who beyond the world of Atzilus. When we feed the Chayis of the Merkava Elyoina, the Karbonis made up from the animals down here, this energizes and vitalizes the Chayis of the Merkava with the energy that comes all the way from the world of Tayu. And now they could raise up not just the throne, but also the Adam Sha'ala Kisei, even though they are lower than the Adam. So just like in the physical world, even though animals are lower than human beings, still in all they energize them and give them vitality and so on, and allow them to do things he wouldn't be able to do without that. The same thing through the behemoths on the Mizbeach, feeding the Dalt Chayes Merkava, it raises up the Merkava Elyoina with the Adam Ha'elyon to a level higher than Atzilus. And not just higher than Atzilus, but to the most highest level, and even higher than that, Kidu, as it's known. The carbon that the secret, the mystery, the most concealed inner part of the Karbonis touches and reaches the innermost part, the secret of the Ein Sof. And it doesn't just elevate it to there and remain high above, but it impacts us here below. From there it comes down here below. That's what it says, that the Karbonis are a pleasing scent. So the word nichoyach is meloshoy nechois darga. It's from the expression descend a level. It's the idea of drawing godliness down here below. That's the idea of after the Karbonis. that we elevated it so it causes hamshacha down here below. And that is the aspect that v'zeu afkia vayis havzeh. That's what it says, that this home, this house can now contain Hashem's essence. Through the service of the Karbanos was the residing and resting of godliness in the Beis HaMikdash until the Eibishter had a home down here below. So what about these days? These days we don't have the Karbanos, so we know what we replaced the Karbanos with. The Indian it's not just, by the way, as we said before, it's not just in the Beis HaMikdash. Like you said, it's a home for the Eibishter down here below, outside of the Beis HaMikdash as well, because from the Beis HaMikdash, the Yidden take it and expand it all over. So he says, and this elevation and drawing down of godliness comes about through the avodah of davening that was established in the place of Karbanos. This is what it says in the beginning of Chumash Vayikra, Adam ki yakriv mekem. It says, a person that will offer from you a carbon. It doesn't say top of page Zayin. Adam mekem ki yakriv, a person from you that will offer a carbon. So the famous question that Chassidus points out, if it was trying to tell you that a person from Klal Yisrael that's bringing a carbon, that's the appropriate setup of the pasuk. It should have said, Adam mikem, a person from amongst you, ki yakriv carbon la Hashem. When you will bring a carbon, it should be min ha-behema, min ha-bakar, min ha-tzayin, as the pasuk goes on. Why does it say Adam ki yakriv mikem, a person that will offer from you? That seems to indicate that the actual offering is coming from you. Not the mikem is going upon the Adam, that the person from among you is offering, but the offering is from you. What's it mean, the offering of the carbon is from you? And the one whose joy it is today in his redemption, this is a Maimer Fitas Kislev, so it's an Alter Rebbe's a Maimer. So it says in the beginning of Chutei Torah, the Alter Rebbe says, Shu inyan hakrovas ha-nefesh ha-bahamis. It's the idea of the offering of the animal soul as a carbon. Its root is very high. Because the Nefesh HaBahamis is called that his complaint preceded, meaning that he was the first one to put forth his complaints, his tainas, his demands. In halacha, in bezin, a person is not allowed to present his complaint to bezin before the other party appears. Nefesh HaBahamis is not that way. Nefesh HaBahamis both literally appears earlier, because Nefesh HaLkis is only fully in the person when he's bar mitzvah, and the Nefesh HaBahamis comes in immediately. But also, the way the Rebbe is using it over here is Agdem Etanise means that the source of Nefesh HaBahamis is much higher. It's from the world of Tayu, which preceded and is higher than the world of Tikkun. Through davening, it arises to its root and source. From there, the revelation comes down here below. Any questions before we go on? Okay, continuing when offering the karbanos, there had to be the three groups of Kehanim and Levim Yisraelim, as it says, Kehanim b'avedosam, the Kehanim did their service, the Levim b'duchanim, and the Levim were on their platform where they used to sing the song and play their musical instruments. The Yisrael b'mamadam, and the Yidden, just the Yisraelim, just stood by. The Tama Davar, what was the significance of these three groups? Because the idea of karbonis is by the idea of ascent and elevation, like we said before. We're raising up the animal to its source in the world of Tayu, to its source in the Dal Chayes and Merkava. And in every ascent of the receiver, there has to be initially the drawing down and empowerment from the mashpia beforehand. Like it says, B'kabal Shabbos, In Kabbalah Shabbos, we say, L'cha doidi l'kras kala. Go, my beloved, towards the kala. In other words, the beloved is talking about Hashem. The kala is talking about Yidden. First, there has to be the Hamshacha from Hashem to the Yidden. And that is followed up by Deizem, Pnei Shabbos Nekabla. Then there could be the greeting, the face of the Shabbos, that there could be the Aliyas Ha'olamis, there could be that the elevation of the Mekabel going upwards. And this is many times of Chassidus we have this idea. We have this idea in Ani L'Doidi V'Doidi Li, that before we have the Ani L'Doidi, we have the Melech Masada, etc. So before there is a Halah, there has to be Hamshacha from above. And therefore, that's why the actual offering of the Karbanis was through Koyanim. Koyanim B'Avidosam, the Koyanim with their service, that the Chazal say, Sheshluchei derachmana inu. The Koyanim are representatives and messengers of Hashem. What does that mean? They are acting on behalf of Hashem, so they are showing in Hamshachas Orim U'Mailu. That's indicating the drawing down of the light from above to below. This is as a preface, as an introduction to be able to have the Aliyah. So it should be able to be afterwards the ascent and elevation of the animal. And how does the ascent take place? Va'Allahi, and the elevation takes place, Yaidei Levim, B'duchanom, it's through the Levim, on their platforms, Sha'avoidasam Hila Rama Kala, that their avoida is to raise their voice. The idea of the raising of the voices is indicating, this is a lashon in the Zohar, it's indicating this idea of the elevation, the coming up from the below to above, just like you raise your voice in song. Like it says, that the Levi served him. Him over here, Chassidus a lot of times brings down, goes on a level that's a very high level. That's why it's said in the third person, him, who, but it means that the Levi is serving the level of him, in other words, raising up to a level that's very high. And then there's a third group, V'Yisrael B'Hamadah, who ikir inyan ha'amshacha she'achra Allah, the Yidden in their standing over the Karbanis. That's the primary idea of after the ascent. There has to be a drawing down. Just like we said before, that through the Hakravas HaKarbanis, there is the Reach Nichoyach. And the word Nichoyach, we said this in the word Nechois Darget comes down. Through that, Elikus comes down, the Beis HaMikdash. Through that, it comes a Dir Lois Baruch Dachtainim in the entire world. So too is the function of the Yidden in their standing by the Karbanis. Of all these three things, you would think the Koyanim is the Iker. So he says, no. The main thing is the Yidden and the Mamadas, is the level of Yisraelim. Not so much the Koyanim and the Levim. Where do we see it? Yisraelim are the primary thing. So the Rebbe brings an amazing thing that says in the Gemara that people don't really pay attention to, but it's a really interesting diuk that the Rebbe uses over here in the Gemara. Like it's brought down the Gemara, ilmole ma'amodos, if not for the standing by the Karbanis. That's what my mothers mean. Loi niskayim v'shamayim ba'aretz. The heavens and earth would not exist. The afal pisha kavani hi leklalis inyan Karbanis. In the simple meaning of what the Chazal are trying to say over there is that if not for Karbanis, the heavens and earth would not exist. But yet, what is the expression that the Chazal choose to use? It could have said, Ilmole Karbanis, lo niskayim shemayim v'aretz. Ilmole avoida, lo niskayim makavonis, lo niskayim shemayim v'aretz. Like it says, there is Torah avoida and Gemilas Chasadim. No, for he uses the word mamadas. Still no, it says the expression mamadas. That indicates how crucial and vital of all the three things of what the Kohanim do, of what the Leviim do. The Yisraelim that are there in the Maimadus, they are Shazeu Iker Hamshacha V'Agiluim Ba'olam. It's the true, main, and primary drawing down and revelation in the world. Through that is the existence of the entire world, like we said before. That in Molim Amadis, the heavens and earth wouldn't continue existing. The way it's affected through the men of the Maimed. And this was like, just like the Kohanim and the Leviim all had like their different watches when they attended, so too amongst the those that were Yisraelim, also they had certain times when they attended the Beis HaMikdash and they stood over the Karbanos, and they had certain things that they read in the Torah, different things. But they were the ones that brought down the Lakus that was generated by coming up above. And through the Anshe Maimed that came down to all Yidden. Similar to what was explained previously. In Oishei, Shua Beis HaMikdash, from the Beis HaMikdash it came down the revelation in the entire world. So it wasn't just at the Dir B'Tachtoinim, wasn't the Beis HaMikdash, it wasn't the entire world as well, that through them being Oile Regel, 3 times a year, every single time they were Oile Regel, and they came home, they brought with them that bittul that they experienced, the Ishtachavah that they experienced in the Beis HaMikdash, they brought home, they brought it to the entire world. The same thing, the Anshe Maimed, that were there according to their particular assigned time, when they came home, they like brought this with them, and they impacted this Hamshacha that came down the Beis HaMikdash into the entire world. And then the Rebbe says, okay, we said before there is avoid in the Beis HaMikdash and there is the davening. So the Rebbe makes an interesting relationship between what we find in davening and these 3 things of Kohanim, Leviim, and Yisrael. In a similar vein, there's these 3 matters in davening. Before davening, there has to be giving of tzedakah. Like it's brought down. The Gemara, Rabbi Lazar, Yahiv Pruta La'anyi V'Hadar Matzi. Rabbi Lazar would first give a coin, the most smallest amount. Pruta is the least amount of a coin. He gave to a poor person, and afterwards he davened. Like it says on Nibet, it says, I will see your face with tzedek. Tzedek is referring to the idea of tzedakah. First, I have to do tzedakah, and then I could see your face. So, what does tzedakah have to do with what we were speaking about before? So we said, first I have to be the drawing down from above. Tzedakah is the drawing down from above. This is the drawing down from above, so there should be able to be the elevation afterwards. Because the idea of tzedakah, like the Alter Rebbe explains in Tanya, is because I am like giving to someone that has less than me, I am being mashpia to someone chayis, so Hashem is also being mashpia to me. So the tzedakah is about the drawing down the hashpah from above. And following that, there's the davening itself, which is the idea of the ascent and elevation. And after davening is learning Torah. We have to go to from shul to yeshiva. It's the drawing down below to deal with the physicality of the world, the practical of the world, and so on. Oistes. Line 14. Just like it was in the Beis HaMikdash. And also in the Mishkan that was called the Mikdash. So too it occurred by Yaakov Avinu. From his perspective, he was already ready to fulfill what was foretold, that the Mashiach will come up and go in the mountain of Zion to refine Esav. That's the idea of refining the world of Torah. Therefore, he had to prepare himself for 3 matters. these three matters of a gift and davening and a war. They correspond to a certain degree, we'll soon explain, to the three things that was in the avoid of karbonis. Because a gift, it's the kindness and the drawing down from above. That's an empowerment and gives us the capability for the elevation. That's through davening, the ladder that stands on the ground. Through that becomes the drawing down that's through the Torah. But that davening itself, it's in a way of a war. Like it says, with my sword and with my bow, with Targumah, but the Targum translates it with my davening and with my request. It's the idea that bread we eat at the edge of the sword because we have to battle our nefesh habahamis, we have to battle the world to be able to deal with this type of elevation that needs to take place. So it's not exactly seems to be that the three correspond to the three before, but davening, which is the halah, and milchama are really in the same category. If we could add to this, according to what we said before in the first ice, Yaakov wanted to effect a refinement in the world of Tayu. He wanted that in the world of Tayu there should be a bittul, just like in the world of Tikkun, because we said only in the world of Tikkun Chesed brings bittul. In the world of Tayu, the level of Chasadim did not bring bittul along. And therefore, it uses the word hiskin meloshen tikkun. It says he prepared himself for three things. Hiskin is from the word tikkun because he wanted to bring the tikkun into Esav, that he should have the bittul as well. The advantage and quality of the world of Tikkun is it has the three lines of right, left, and center. And because it has the three lines, so the center line causes an intermingling and a unity between both the right and the left. Not like the world of Toyu that has in it only two lines, which shows on disparity and disunity. So he was hiskin l'shlosh advarim. He wanted to bring the tikkun of the number three into the world of Toyu. And when Toyu would experience this union with tikkun, through this will be the drawing down of godliness into the world. This is also what it says, He redeemed in peace my soul from those that battle me. This is applicable to the redemption of the 19th of Kislev, and also today, Yud Kislev was also the time that the Middle Rebbe said Padav Shalom Nafshi. The original Yud Kislev took place on the Tuesday when Hashem said twice Kitayv in the creation. Like the words of Alter Rebbe in the well-known letter that he wrote when he went out to freedom. Concerning this pasuk, the Chazal derive whoever is involved in Torah study and doing acts of kindness and davening but a minyan, I consider it as if he redeemed me and my children from amongst the nations. What are these three things? Torah, Gmos Chasadim, and davening with a minyan. These are the three lines that we spoke about before. The tzedakah before davening, the davening, and the learning after davening. Through this becomes the redemption from all of our enemies in a way of peace. There's no need for war whatsoever, like it was in the redemption of Yitas Kislev, that there was no war, Baruch Hashem. It was the government agreed and allowed the Alter Rebbe to continue. So to be should be for us speedily. Through Mashiach, He will come and redeem us and lead us upright to our land.